Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Somewhat Scholarly. My name is Alan Hibbard, and today I want to talk about the banks. Banks can now custody crypto assets. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, let's get into it. In case you guys didn't hear, I do want to show you the article from Coindesk. Banks in the U.S. can now offer crypto custody services, regulator says. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, is letting all nationally chartered banks in the U.S. provide custody services for cryptocurrencies. Here it is, guys. The masses are coming. Maybe. We'll see. Time will tell. Opinions have been mixed. I do want to share a tweet from Anthony Pompliano. The OCC decision on Bitcoin happened because a Bitcoiner took over the leadership of the organization. Don't underestimate the change that a single Bitcoiner can drive inside these legacy institutions. And in case you don't know, the Bitcoiner that he's talking about is Brian Brooks, the acting comptroller of the currency at the US OCC, and he was the former chief legal officer at Coinbase. So this guy knows cryptos and so forth. So Pomp's opinion here that it was a Bitcoiner that sort of led the charge and is paving the way in these legacy institutions, I think that's an opinion held by a lot of people, and I don't know if it's accurate. I don't know if it's well-founded. I don't know if it's well-reasoned. So that's kind of what I wanted to explore, and that's part of the reason for this video. So let's actually look at the letter itself and see if Brian Brooks was instrumental in this change or not. So here is the letter. It's a 10-page letter. I just want to read the first paragraph with you guys, and it will summarize the entire thing. So this is from July 22nd, 2020, so earlier this week, and it is regarding the authority of a national bank to provide cryptocurrency custody services for customers. Dear blank. So we actually don't know who this is addressed to, but we can make some deductions that it's, generally speaking, it's somebody who represents a bank in the U.S. So part one here, this is what I want to read, the introduction and the summary conclusion. This letter responds to your request regarding the authority of a national bank to provide cryptocurrency custody services for customers. For the reasons discussed below, we conclude a national bank may provide these cryptocurrency custody services on behalf of customers, including by holding the unique cryptographic keys associated with cryptocurrency. This letter also reaffirms the OCC's position that national banks may provide permissible banking services to any lawful businesses they choose, including cryptocurrency businesses, as long as they effectively manage the risks and comply with applicable law. So we see here that this letter is a response to a request, and it's reaffirming a position that they've already held. So it seems to me from reading this letter that there's not really a change of opinion here. It's sort of a continuation of the opinion that has already been held, and just a clarification of the rules that and statutes and laws and so forth that have already been on the books. And so I personally would not argue that a Bitcoiner or anybody was instrumental in these changes. It sort of seems like there weren't even changes. And that's actually the first key takeaway, or takeaway number 7. This is not a new law or regulation. It's a clarification of existing laws and regulations. So it's almost like there isn't a massive turnaround here. It's not like the banks were against crypto or like forbidden from custodying the assets. It turns out they were allowed to do it all along, right? And this letter just clarifies that. So that's an important point to be aware of. I think that might be the only key takeaway I have that's in any way surprising. I think the rest is very straightforward, but still important to think about, and that's why I do have 6 more of them. So let's keep going. Number 6, traditional banks will attract a new type of investor, quote unquote, into crypto. They may join a bull run, but won't cause one. So I think this is why everyone is super excited. Like, here come the masses, here comes the retail investor, here come institutional investors. And I would agree with that. However, I don't think they're going to cause a bull run. This is my opinion. I think they may join a bull run, but I don't think they're going to cause one. So Time will tell. I could be wrong here, but it's just my gut instinct that it's not like, a bunch of people are going to hear this news and say, oh, perfect, let me put my life savings into crypto at a bank. I just don't think it's going to happen. If anything, new crypto hodlers will trickle in, and I don't know if that's going to have a huge impact on price that we will see visibly. However, once we do have a bull run for, let's say, global macro events, I think more people will join the bull run. So that's just my opinion. Time will tell. We will see. Moving right along. Number 5. This doesn't mean that your favorite coin is now a bankster coin. So this is sort of like the opposite end of the spectrum. Some people shared, Pomp's view that this is like a major turnaround, super bullish. Other people were on the other side of things saying this is totally bearish. Now Bitcoin is a bankster coin. Now my favorite coin is a bankster coin. I don't think so. I mean, just because a bank is like holding it for someone doesn't affect the nature of the asset, doesn't affect the nature of the coin, doesn't affect the underlying code base, doesn't affect anything. So if something wasn't a bankster coin last week, it's not a bankster coin today. So I guess I'll leave it at that. All right, number 4, banks exist to make a profit. There will be fees. However, competition is good for the consumer. So yeah, I mean, not a surprise here. Banks are going to make a profit, and if they're going to custody your assets either in a safety deposit box or some kind of account or a wallet or whatever they have, they're going to charge you a fee, and that's no big deal. I mean, that's the same way exchanges operate, some of them, and other custody solutions. So that's just the way it works. That's not necessarily a good or bad thing. However, competition itself is a good thing for the consumer because that means that the quality of service is going to go up over time because, different organizations are going to try to do better than their competitors. And it also means the cost is going to go down over time. So, if one provider is charging you 2% a year, someone could undercut and only charge 1% a year. And if they're offering the same quality, then it's sort of a no-brainer. So anyways, the price will go down over time. So that's a good news for everybody, definitely. Moving right along, number 3, some banks will inevitably suffer the same hacks, thefts, and losses that crypto exchanges have suffered. So again, this isn't really news. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody. It's just sort of a reality of the situation. It's just like banks, ever since they've existed, have been robbed. People just walk in and take the money and walk out. And now it happens digitally more often than physically. And, it's just a reality. So it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just something to keep in mind. However, when those exchanges happen, it seems like everyone panics. Oh no, such and such exchange was hacked. There goes everyone's Bitcoin or whatever coin or, US dollars or whatever. And everyone freaks out. And sure, if you're one of those people, yeah, I mean, I guess there's reason to freak out. But, this isn't new information that this is possible. And people act like it can't happen, and then they're surprised when it does. So the reason I included this as a key point is, like, don't forget, banks are gonna be hacked, and people are gonna lose their money, just like happens on crypto exchanges. So that's why you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Split it up. Obviously, you guys who are crypto people, keep things in cold storage, right? And diversify even that way too. Don't keep it all on one single device, because if you lose the device or the seed phrase or whatever, there goes everything, right? Split it up and so forth. So diversify. All right, number 2, banks will know how much of each asset you have. Do you want banks and therefore governments to know this information? So that's up to you. That's totally up to you. Totally up to you. Okay, number 1, not your keys, not your crypto. And you got to ask yourself, what could go wrong? So, yeah, not your keys, not your crypto. I mean, this is quite possibly the biggest lesson of crypto. Not your keys, not your crypto. That is ownership. It's the keys. So if you're going to let someone else control your keys, whether it's a centralized exchange or a centralized bank or just anybody, you're running a major risk, right? There's definitely advantages to doing that for sure, but there's a huge risk. So you got to ask yourself, what could go wrong? And in the case of banks, who are tied very closely to the government, there is a history of taking things that belong to individuals and nationalizing those things, or confiscating them. So Executive Order 6102 comes to mind, basically when Roosevelt nationalized the gold. So he paid everyone, fair market value for it, and then magically changed the value. And, there are different bail-in laws in place in the United States. In 2015, some bail-in laws went into place. I could do a separate video on those, basically clarifying that when you as a depositor have a relationship with a bank, that you're the low man on the totem pole, and if the bank goes under, you are not entitled to actually essentially getting your money back, because when you have your money at a bank, it's the bank's money. And I don't know the laws on how crypto assets or things in a safety deposit box or whatever would be treated, but I don't think it's going to be very favorable to the consumer, because history shows us that the consumer is the low man on the totem pole. So I would just be very cautious about giving my private keys, well, really to anybody, but especially a bank or the government. So that's up to everyone to make their own decision. And so as I think about this news story, I ask myself, is this really a news story? And I think almost not really. It almost seems like not news to me, because first of all, they're just clarifying an existing rule. And second of all, this is really one step on the road that we knew was there anyways. So, a lot of people are super bullish. A lot of people are super bearish. I'm just so neutral. It almost seems like a non-event to me, and probably next week I won't even be thinking about this. So I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you neutral? Is there something I missed? Let me know in the comment section. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.